If I could make the world a better place, it would be full of French toast sticks instead of people.
What a great idea.
Could I have that as a mutant power? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the dialogue.
Hola.
The dialogue. Where movies are more than mindless entertainment. This week's movie is X-Men Apocalypse. It starts off kind of explaining where the guy Apocalypse comes from. He thinks he's a god. He rules in about like 3,600 BC, rules in Egypt, and then something happens, which then sends him into a slumber for thousands of years. And now he's in our time period, awakened again, ready to wreak havoc.
What you gonna do?
Yeah, so basically he's trying to make the world a better place by getting rid of all the humans and just leaving mutants.
Apocalypse, almost. One would even say apocalypse. I gotta say, there is not a lot of bad things that I can mention about it.
Yeah.
I'll give two kind of neutral observations if I can do that. What I would observe neutrally.
If I could get gray areas up in here.
Well, I mean, it's neither here nor there. It's just something to consider, I guess. So this movie was a little bit more violent than I thought it would be.
Oh yeah, good point.
As far as like, just there's some graphic kills in there, or at least you didn't necessarily expect people to get their heads chopped off by sand. But
when you put it like that.
So I mean, there's that. There's also, what else was I gonna say? I had something that was gonna be like epic. In fact, once I said it, it was basically gonna be revolutionary. It was gonna change the whole movie industry when I said it.
Wow.
No, the other thing I was gonna say was, I remember it now, the action of the story, or at least what propels the plot line or the whole movie.
Right.
Is not your typical action sequences like car chases or epic fights, battle sequences, that sort of thing. It's the characters and what they're going through that propels the story.
Contrary to what some critics are saying.
Yeah, we've seen some reviews that people are like, it's just too stuffed with action, and that's just not the case. That's just not the case.
I don't feel that way at all.
Now, I will say, and this could be like a negative, there are a lot of characters in it. Okay? There are a lot of characters in it. Mm-hmm. They actually do a pretty good job of giving most of them, well, maybe I shouldn't even say most of them, giving enough of them good enough detail and backstory and motivation, that sort of thing. Some of them are just kind of like, okay, you're there and you're going to have a part to play, but we're not going to discuss you really, which is good because you cannot do that with this many characters.
Right. Well, to get as deep as they do, too.
Right. So I really liked that about the film. I liked the characters, the emphasis on their motivations propelling the plot. Right. How they're going to deal with this person who's almost claiming to be God and wants to do this with humanity. Some of the characters, like Eric, is going to be, well, you know what, maybe I should side with him because he honestly has a lot of good points because we just can't live in this world. I liked having a movie that was almost more cerebral, which I think there's a whole room named after that word in this movie. So I appreciated that.
I don't necessarily agree with the popular critic belief. It feels like in that the movie is action crammed and jam packed with that. Yeah. I don't feel like that's the case. Like we talked about, it feels like the characters have a little bit more to do with how the movie propels forward. Yeah. Even like the main like climax scenes and things that are focused on have to do more with emotional responses of the characters and how they're working through certain issues versus two heroes or two villains colliding in an action fight.
Right, in a fist fight.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like if you wanted to say that, and this isn't a hate on Civil War in any way, because I love that movie too, but just to like compare the two and contrast them because they're both Marvel films, Civil War, for instance, has a lot of scenes that kind of like focus in on this conflict physically of two characters, and Apocalypse seems to be more like, here's a giant conflict scene, but it's going to be more of on an emotional and intellectual level. So I appreciated that. The other thing that was surprising to me was that we were talking about how this movie feels like, in terms of violence, it could be like borderline, like rated R, like right there, like right on the cusp of it. And what I mean by that is that there's like this scene, perfect example, like right at the beginning, where they take this knife and they start cutting this dude, and you're like, oh!
I know, I was like, okay, we're in dissecting 101 now.
Yeah, this is like human dissection. It was intense, but then he healed, and so it was okay.
So I would definitely say it's not like there's blood splattered everywhere throughout the movie.
No.
Not that kind of stuff.
But there is some blood splatter.
This is true. There's, in fact, the end, if you stay to after the credits, basically that scene is them mopping up blood.
yeah, it is. That is what it is.
And vacuuming up bullet casings with a shop vac.
Well, there you go. You know, yeah. So I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it flowed nicely. So
as far as rating this, I cannot because of we didn't really even mention what kind of themes it tackles, but it tackles themes of selfishness, family, deity, false deity. Right. Which I really liked. Really Sorry, I don't want to... We'll have an in-depth discussion on this.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it.
In fact, you can click on the annotation for that. It's going to be up Wednesday on my face right now instead of your face.
Hey, you know what?
As far as rating this movie, though, I cannot go lower than an 8. Either 8 or 9. I'm going to settle on an 8, even though... yeah, I'll settle on an 8 for now.
Yeah, hey.
8.
I'm going to give it a 9. And the reason being is that I like this movie just as much as I liked Batman v Superman, and just as much as I liked Civil War. I'm gonna throw it out there. You know, these superhero movies, I feel like, are just getting better and better. And I really enjoyed this. I liked this as much as I liked Days of Future Past. And so I think this is a good addition to the X-Men series that we got going right now. And I'm excited for the next thing.
All right, guys. Agree, disagree? Well, let us know in the comments. Make sure you join the dialogue by subscribing. Yes. And let us know what you think. And as always, join us next time on The Dialogue.